Welcome back, Acadiana. We just keep seeing new alerts issued across the country. I even see some new alerts for mostly Alabama now, where it wasn't any alerts there, but I'm pretty sure it's for the cold temperatures that everyone will be looking at ahead for Sunday. But aside from that, multiple winter weather alerts from the winter storm warnings in the pink stretching from Texas all the way through the East Coast. And even for us, we got the multiple alerts on top of each other. But the major one to look at is that ice storm warning for central and northern Louisiana that we'll talk about in just a moment. So when it comes to the ice storm severity risk, it did increase since yesterday, and now about a 40% chance. And this is along Interstate 10 and north. This will primarily be for Sunday for us in Acadiana, but central Louisiana out there in the darker reds, they can see multiple rounds of freezing rain starting tomorrow morning and even for Sunday morning, with some isolated freezing rain Saturday afternoon and the evening. So this will pretty much be an ongoing issue for both Saturday and Sunday. But for us in Acadiana, especially areas south of that, most likely seeing rainfall. That freezing rain or that mixing layer will be around Interstate 10 and north. So keep an eye out for that, especially if you are moving around for tonight and even early on tomorrow. But after that, especially want to stay put if you are north of Interstate 10. So hazardous travel will primarily be areas north, areas south, mostly dealing with rainfall. And when it comes to the snow, not seeing that with this system, may have a few light flurries out there, but the hard freeze that will roll in Sunday night into early Monday morning, where we'll have the coldest air out of this 10-day period, dropping temperatures into the teens and 20s, and feels like temperatures or that wind chill into the single digits. So let's start off with that first winter weather alert. It is a winter weather advisory. This is for areas along Interstate 10, Jeff Davis, Acadia, Lafayette, St. Martin Parish, and even for St. Landry. This will be for Saturday evening into Sunday evening for mixed wintry precipitation possible with ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch. So we'll be right along that mixing layer for either that rain or even a freezing rain mix, but likely to see icier conditions into central and northern Louisiana, where they are under that ice storm warning for accumulations between 1/10 of an inch to at least 1/2 an inch. And with higher ice accretion, they will see power outages and tree damage mostly there. So traveling will be very hazardous. If you are in these locations, you most likely want to stay put for this weekend until these storms push out of here by the end of the weekend. So still with the graph models, keeping the icier conditions just north of Interstate 10 and areas like Natchitoches and Winfield, at least 1/2 an inch to maybe 1 inch of ice there in that location. Does decrease further south. And as you can tell, for our coastal areas, those ice accumulations are at zero. Most likely will have rainfall for this weekend ahead. So aside from the icy conditions, that cold air will really start to filter in, especially for Sunday night into Monday. So wind chills in the single digits there, with the air temperature in the teens and 20s. Not to mention, it is also a cold weather advisory for wind chills between about 13 to about 26 Saturday into early Sunday. So pretty much dealing with some very cold air for this weekend coming up. And fast forwarding to Saturday night into early Sunday, as you can tell, those temperatures are very cold in the northern portions of the state in the 20s. It does increase a little bit into the mid-30s there, but still very cold air going into Sunday. And check out those highs. Most of northern Louisiana barely making it above freezing, so they'll be dealing with below freezing temperatures for an extended period of time. But for central Louisiana and Acadiana, temperatures a little bit higher in the mid-30s to low 40s, but it's a thin line, especially around Alexandria, Ville Platte, where temperatures will be just a couple of degrees above freezing. So anything that's on the ground for Sunday will likely freeze going into Sunday night, and that can cause some icy conditions, especially for Monday morning. So let's time it out. We got dry conditions for the rest of tonight. We'll see that first round of freezing rain push in for Saturday morning, and we'll see more of icy or isolated freezing rain for the rest of central Louisiana there, with mostly dealing with rainfall south of I-10. That next round of freezing rain rolls in Saturday night into early Sunday, with the rainfall and that mixing layer right along Interstate 10. But at least we'll see dry conditions going into the end of the weekend. Not to mention some heavier rainfall as well, and even for for the 10-day forecast, we got the rainy conditions this weekend along with that mixing layer. But after that, staying very dry going into Monday, but that very cold air, that'll stick with us for majority of the first half of the week. Stay tuned. We'll have another look at the 10-day forecast.